I have you right where I... Wait. What's the meaning of this? Who are you and where is my opponent? Oh, I see what happened. Blast. Perhaps next time. I was once a grand knight in the clan of Isa, but misfortune befell me when I believed the lies of the witch. She lured me, wooed me, honored me, promised me power. I became the champion and protector of her castle. That did not last long. She tired of my service and my love. Just look at the result. A great sword to the throat, how else? It was gloriously bloody, if I recall. The champion had been told to end my service to the maid. Really? I don't think so, Dustling.
Meek and crept through summer's end to break the seal of magic's veil. Auror's love she'd pretend. Seduced by Belmaid's false love, Sir Auror let her through. Then Belmaid did cloak herself when castle she did view.
Enough, mortal. You presume too much. This song does not belong to you. There can only be one champion, and his name is Sir Creth. Perish and rot as a corpse in the sun? It's a bit late to change your mind now, isn't it? Goodbye.
You are brave. No mortal has ever set foot in my domain. Isn't it wondrous? I've spent centuries whispering my wishes to the earth, the trees. The crystal has made it so. Never before has there been one worthy of sharing it with me. Do you fancy yourself a ruler? Join me and my enchanted beasts in this, the autumn of my kind. And you mean it? That is why you so fascinate me. You continue to snarl, even in the face of your own demise. Admirable. Stupid, but admirable. Hallam has seen it, and I dream of little else. The tale of the Fae enters its final telling. All the old songs will perish with their heroes, and a new era will begin. And while the end is near, it has yet to be written. You are the harbinger of change our people have long feared, and with you lies our legacy. Whatever I desire, it makes possible. I wanted to change the ballads, and I have done it. I wanted Wenson, and he is mine. The Prismeer makes it so. Those who seek to be my subjects, to serve me in every way. The wild fae you see before you are under an enchantment. This keeps them docile. You are safe here so long as you do not anger my friends. They will pay you no mind. But some advice. Keep your weapons sheathed. Wenson waits for you in my castle, but only a fool would simply invite you in. And I am no fool. I have been part of this story for too long. This village is my legacy, how the world will remember me when all the courts have fallen. Below, my army prepares to wipe clean the songs of yore. You could lie beside me in the waning days, but if rescuing Wenson is what fate has written for you, then you will find him, and you will find me.
Welcome. You're not at all what I expected. I am Sagrel, Chancellor of Windermere. She said you were beautiful, although I have noticed that she has peculiar tastes. You're just in time. Our little army is building up quite nicely. I was beginning to fear that we'd actually have to execute the lady's plans, ludicrous as they are. Every summer ballad ends in the maid's defeat. Time and again she has played the villain. Now she intends to change that permanently, and she has the power to do so. This army is not a new device, not at all. It is all part of the great ballad Cursed Kingdom, in which fair Queen Bellmaid reduces the maid's army to a scattered mob. It is the source of her power and of her madness. Normally she's not so terrible to be around, if you don't mind plotting and treachery, that is. Please, it is just Sagrel. I am no knight. I only recently came of age. The maid seized me just as I was leaving my hollow, as though she had been waiting. The great cycle has left me vacant, but I am no friend of the Maid of Windermere. Though the winter ballads name her a hero, her favoured role is the heartless tyrant. The beasts in this village may act civilized, but they are anything but. Cross them and they will kill you, just like their wild cousins would. Of course you are, forgive me. I often forget that my time with the House of Ballads is past. Now I am but a prisoner of the maid. We all are. You see, this place, it's calm. It is only an illusion. The maid uses her strange crystals to pacify the beasts, just as she enchants our friends. We must destroy the crystals to earn our freedom, but they are invisible to all but the maid. It is her song that calls them. The crystals are hidden around the village and forest of Summer's End. You cannot see them with the naked eye. They appear only when summoned by a musical tone. You must hurry.
Around the castle were the Fae, who lulled to sleep from song. The maid would make an army here, some hundreds, thousands strong. And like the rakish Sir Sagrel, Bellmaid snuck through entranced glade, and found the source of evil there, a crystal of the maid. A mighty Fey hammer she took in hand, and, singing like the lark, she ended the enchanting haze that deepened in the dark. The creatures freed, released from spell, became savage once more. The crystal posed a threat to Fey. Bellmaid had to smash the ore.
Come in. Quite a display, my friend. It makes me proud to share a name. You made quick work of the maid's army. The lady herself, however, will prove more formidable. Take this. It's the key to the village bell house. That bell rings with the same tone as the flute, only louder. So loud it can be heard across these high mountains. The toll will break the enchantment on the maid's castle. Then you will have your chance. Make the most of it, my friend. It may be your last. And now I am free. I do hope we meet again. I would like you to have this. It's a talisman. I have no need of it where I am going. Just above the chantry. The door to the castle is warded, but once you ring the bell, that ward will be no more. I am grateful to you.
Welcome. Come to Gore Heart. I have a secret to tell you. I am not sad. When I was a girl, my father used to tell me that when you grow old with someone, you tie your fates together and create a pattern that is part yours and part theirs. My father said that this is why when an old person dies, their partner is never far behind. But I do not feel that way. I feel free.
If I have to live for the rest of my life without him knowing, well, then I'll deal with that. I think there's something to be said for it. I think it's noble. Yeah, I could tell someone, but that's just asking for praise. What makes it an act of kindness is that nobody knows, or at least that he doesn't know. I let him have the glory. No one has to know his arrow missed. He saved the town. He's a hero.
Lionel, I assure you it's an ancient codex, just like in the tales.
Intriguing. And why would such a thing be revealed to a child of dust?
And here I was beginning to think that you'd never show up. This is Lionel, lawmaster of the House of Ballads. Give the codex over to him, and he may have your answers. I'm a woman of many talents, and we're all taught that we must use our talents for the greatest good, right? The Codex of Fate is no simple law stone. It's more subtle and complex than any mortal could comprehend. But a law master of ballads may be able to interpret it. We are the charmed, the subtle, and the inspired. In happier days, we were the loftiest of the mortal races. We despise open war. But for decades, the Tuatha have been at war with us. pushing into our lands and forcing us to take up arms. For a long time, they were content to keep to their play of the summer and winter courts. Now we fight Gadflow and the Tuatha for our very existence. Lore Master Glional has devoted centuries to the study of lore and ancient Fae stories. The codex he found isn't just any lore stone. Just talk to him, and I'm sure he'll be able to shed some light on the issue. Be on your way.
You must be Lady Shear's friend. He speaks very highly of you. An occasion rare enough to be worth recording in its own right. But let's see this codex. The fabled Codex of Destiny. When the Fate Weavers formed their order, our High King gave his own wisdom to assist them. To have such knowledge in your hands is a tremendous gift, but why did it reveal itself to you? Nonsense. All children of dust have a story that is written before you see your first dawn. Now, I can only make out some parts, but this is odd. The Codex speaks of an exception, a void, an end to the endless. This is simply too much. The High King would never pawn such absurdity off as wisdom. I'm sure you think it is. I fear you must have been taken in by a forgery. A perfectly created one, perhaps, but a forgery nonetheless. But this codex speaks of impossible things, changes to fate, death of the immortals, and other heresies. To ascribe these lies to the High King would be... I'm sorry, but I must ask you to take it away. I will have no part in these lies. All of us in the Western Feylands are subjects of High King Tatarian. Our presence maintains the natural balance, bringing the green of spring at winter's end. It is a new relic crafted by several of our most attuned Fey mages. Usually the notion of new repels me, but in this case, I can't help but feel a spark of curiosity. The Echo Stone can be used like a lore stone to experience past narratives, stories that have long since left the lips of their tellers. However, one can only use the Echo Stone if he has the right matching cairn, a magical key devised by Hallam the White himself. We are the story that is told in every age, with different words, with the same meanings. We are the blazing summer and the brooding winter, forever following one another. We are, as we have always been and shall ever be, no more and no less. He is an offense to our people. He upsets the natural order, and his war breaks the cycle. I will speak no more of him. As antiquarian, I'm keenly aware of the lesser ballads in Fey telling, and do my best to ensure that they're not lost in the wide river of time. I'm keeper of the Echo Stone here in the House of Ballads. It has only come to us recently, but I find its purpose most fascinating. The role of the storyteller is the most important to the Fae in the Court of Summer. He watches the telling as it unfolds. His gaze is not on one ballad, but all of them. His wisdom is above us all, even the lords and ladies of the House of Ballads. The High King guides us in all the grand telling of the Fae. For you, tales are naught but a reminder of your inevitable decline. But for the Fae, our tales are eternal reminders of our truest selves. Here we celebrate the very heart of our kind. The greatest of our tales, reborn and relived. Every creature has its story. The wake it leaves behind in its travel, that is a telling. It is a narrative of defeats and victories that give every life meaning. Our Fae telling goes on from creation deep into the hidden end. Until then, we celebrate the small songs, the ones that celebrate the spring in which we find ourselves. Is there a meaning to it? Only its author can tell you. Do not bother me with such foolishness again.
Lionel spends his life cherishing old stories, but show him something truly new, and he dismisses it. Tragic. First of all, we ignore this fool. Most Fae aren't comfortable with change, and you are certainly something new. I'm afraid that only one person will really be able to help us with the Codex, the High King himself. It will be difficult. His court is in the city of Issa. Very few mortals are permitted in its gardens. I do know one individual who can grant you permission to enter, but you'll have to meet him alone. Nyralim is a private person, and he carries a grudge against me, although perhaps person isn't the right word for him, nor is him. You'll find him in southeast Dalantoth at Caer Nyralim. Just head towards the giant tree, and, well, you'll see. That codex isn't just a complicated lore stone. It seems to tell a tale most Fae don't want to hear, and created by High King Titarian himself, no less. Interesting. The Winter Court, or the Unseelie, embrace the destruction and decay of nature. They aren't evil, but they aren't exactly the best of friends. Normally they share power peacefully with the Summer Court, but since the Tuatha have seized power, there is neither peace nor predictability. The Tuatha are a radical sect of Fae within the Winter Court, led by Gadflow and his insane rants about their new god. They've taken power and declared war on mortals. They use raw Prismia to enhance their power, and their devotion borders on madness. But the most terrifying thing to the Fae is simply the fact that their siblings have changed so completely. You haven't been around much, have you? The Tuatha have been pressing west from their home in Alabastra. Right now, they're only threatening my people. But if we fall, the Tuatha will turn their eyes to the other mortal races. The Summer Court, or the Seelie Fae if you prefer, embody the growth and energy of nature, but they can still be as aloof and uncaring as a brutal summer day. The current High King of the Fae is Titarian, the wisest of the Summer Court. While Gadflow has undermined the Winter Court, he tries to keep their cycle in balance. Titarian isn't quite what you'd expect from the High King of Summer, but he hasn't got the arrogance of his cousins, or their cheer. Ever since Gadflow killed the High King of Winter and started the war, Titarian has become distant and melancholy, and blind to the dangers around him. A close friend once told me, strive to be whatever you want to be. Fate might be a lie, but if it isn't, then worrying about it won't change a thing. None of us could have foreseen the rise of Gadflow and his army, but we should have, and now we're all facing the price. That old coward. He may have lived 100 heroic lives, but he's lost the moment he faces something truly new. Pathetic. The Fae do not have a written language, so their tales are their lifeblood, their history, and their future all in one. The House of Ballads is where they enshrine these legends and celebrate them time and again. Nyralim is the oldest living mortal. He remembers the time before even the Fae called these lands home. You should see how they cherish him. He rarely grants an audience to visitors. His tenders say he knows the future as well as the past. It makes him very particular about what he says. We've known for a long time that Prismia crystals allow us to store and focus magical power. The gnomes use it in their grander inventions, when they can get it. But we have no idea how Gadflow got a hold of so much of it. It makes his Tuatha the most dangerous army I've ever seen. Good luck with Nyralim. And Nyralim is sure to be expecting you. and I doubt talking with me will endear. You'll have to meet him on your own. I'd accompany you, but Nyralim and I have our disagreements. Good luck with Nyralim, and ignore anything he says about me.
Not like the others. You will welcome him.
She sought to bring the light of truth, to save a village plagued, to find a cure for them, her quest, the Maid of Windermere, her test. She faced the evil maid enraged, she trembled with her wrath. Undo your evil magic now, or I will end this tale, I vow.
Come closer, little curiosity. The curious one seeks a way to the Fae, but it has found its way to the boughs of the World Tree instead. Rest, Quickling. and I may study you. Look around you, and I am all that you can see. My roots spread across Dalantarth. My leaves read the winds from Frostbrine Coast to Alabastra. My family and I circle this world. We were saplings when your kind emerged from the dark, and we will grow with you until this world burns once again. My roots spread wide and deep, and I have heard what brought you here, but I cannot see where you go hence. The time of the Fae is passing. I must shelter them in their twilight and protect them from the corruption that spreads in their kin to the east. The gardens of fate are clear to me, and all that ever shall be are visible in its blooms. Issa's end has always been certain. Buried beneath Prismere blades, I can only hold back the tide. But you, perhaps you can change the currents. Where you tread, you mark all you touch. Before I would help you, I must know. Will you be a kind gardener or a careless reaper? Like all quicklings, you are eager to act. I would rather see the method of your action. A tribe of trolls has been corrupted with Prismere. Their matriarch, Nash, has united the clans in the first step on the path of Dalantarth's demise. You can change this fate, but to what? In doing so, you may awaken a more dangerous threat, like your ally, Aelin Shear. She walks a deep and tangled path, one that you walked alongside her before your death. But your path is your own now. Defeat Nash. Remove the taint of Prismere. Then I shall see who you are. If not, who you will become. Aelin Shear is a mystery and a simplicity. She is focused in a way few quicklings are. Her dedication is true, but I do not know the cause. Together you have walked dark paths beneath my boughs. You knew one another before your death, or thought you knew each other. Like the sun in the sky, they knew me when I was a sapling, and they will know me when I rot. But they will never know change, nor how to save themselves from their patterns. Only one Fae has ever truly changed, and he now leads an army to destroy your kind. The fates of quicklings are very simple. Growing, consuming, expanding, dying, and always rushing predictably along your paths. You are unique among them. You decide your own direction. But does that mean you will choose anything different? The troll matriarch. Prismere has corrupted her, making her cruel, cunning, and far more ambitious than her brethren. She bears the marks of the Tuatha, and she shares their murderous intent. I am as world trees have ever been since the dawn of time. I watch, I understand, and I remember. To creatures of flesh like yourself, Prismere is a powerful tool to harness magic. But but to creatures of pure magic, like Tuatha or trolls, Prismeer is so much more. To them, it is a curse, a blessing, and a rapture all in one. It drives them and consumes them. And to the weak-willed, it corrupts them utterly. I can no longer ignore the quicklings like your kind, who rush through the world, ever anxious, ever eager, ever evolving, but never changing. Fools who hack at my roots and burn, and sometimes sages who hang from my branches and learn. The last great Fey city, at once the birth of their dream, the throne of their great realm, and the deathbed of their kind. In thanks to High King Titarian, my boughs stand vigil over their city in their twilight. Only by my leave may visitors see them in their weakness. The troll matriarch and her brood await at Haxi. Their corruption burns my roots and threatens our future.